Imagine walking along a quiet Australian beach at dawn. The waves are calm, the sand is untouched, and they're leaning casually against a sea wall. It is a man in a perfectly pressed suit. He looks like he's sleeping, but he's dead. No wallet identification, cause of death, and hidden inside his clothing, a single, cryptic message: Taman Shud, it is finished. This man had no name, no past, and no explanation. For over 70 years, he would haunt investigators, cryptographers, intelligence agencies, and true crime researchers around the world. This is the story of the Somerton Man, a mystery involving poison, secret codes, forbidden poetry, Cold War espionage, and a truth that may still be incomplete. Stay with me, because nothing about this case is what it seems. The date was December 1st, 1948. On Somerton Beach, just south of Adelaide, early morning walkers noticed a man lying against a seawall. He was well dressed in a suit jacket, pressed trousers, and polished shoes, signs of struggle. No visible injuries. Police initially thought he was drunk or asleep, but when they approached him, they realized something was very wrong. The man was dead. His posture was strange, almost peaceful. One arm rested casually across his lap. A cigarette lay unlit on his collar. This was not how most people died. At the morgue, investigators made a disturbing discovery. Every label on his clothing had been carefully removed. No wallet identification, no hat, unusual for the era. Even more puzzling, his clothes were immaculate, yet his shoes were clean, despite the sandy beach. Who dresses formally to die alone? An autopsy was performed. The results only deepened the mystery. Doctors found congestion of organs, an enlarged spleen, internal bleeding, but no obvious cause of death, no trauma, no disease. The coroner concluded, the cause of death is unknown, but poisoning is suspected, yet no poison was detected. In 1948, certain rare toxins used in intelligence work could kill without leaving traces. The question became unavoidable. Was this man murdered? Or did he choose to die? Weeks later, police found something extraordinary. Hidden inside a tiny fob pocket, sewn into the man's trousers, was a rolled piece of paper. On it were two words, Taman Shud. The phrase was Persian. It meant, it is finished. Investigators quickly traced it to the final line of the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam, a book of philosophical poetry often associated with fate, death, and existentialism. Someone had torn the last page out of a copy of the Rubaiyat. But why? And where did the book come from? In a nearby parked car, police made a breakthrough. Inside was a copy of the Rubaiyat with the final page missing. And inside the book, a code. Lines of random letters, written in pencil. To this day, the code remains unsolved. Was it a cipher, a spy message, or a personal shorthand only the man understood? Cryptographers around the world have tried and failed to crack it. Suddenly, this unidentified man became something far more unsettling. A potential spy. Inside the Rubaiyat was also a phone number. It belonged to a nurse living just minutes from Somerton Beach. When police showed her a plaster cast of the man's face, witnesses reported she went pale, nearly collapsing. She claimed she had never known him, but she once owned a Rubaiyat copy, which she had given to a man years earlier. Her son later exhibited rare anatomical traits, also found in the Somerton Man traits, present in less than 2% of the population. Coincidence? Or was this man secretly connected to her life? 1948 was the dawn of the Cold War. Adelaide was near Woomera, a top-secret weapons facility. Poison without traces, codes no one could break. A man with no identity. Everything pointed toward espionage. But for decades, the truth remained buried literally. In 2021, the Somerton Man was exhumed. Using modern DNA genealogy, researchers traced his identity to a man Carl Charles Webb, born in Melbourne in 1905. It was a breakthrough, but not an ending. Even with a name, the mystery remains. Why were his labels removed? Why the code? Why Taman Shud? How did he die? And what was he really doing in Adelaide? Some mysteries fade with time. This one refuses to. And now, after everything we have uncovered, after all the clues, theories, and decades of investigation, we are left with something far more unsettling than an unsolved puzzle. We are left with silence. Because at the end of this story, there is no dramatic confession, final document, sudden revealed moment, where everything clicks neatly into place. There is only a man who arrived without explanation and left behind more questions than answers. The Somerton Man did not leave us a name. He did not leave us a reason. He left us only two words: Taman Shud. It is finished. But is it? For more than 70 years, this man lay at the edge of history, between identity and anonymity, between accident and intention, between love and abandonment, between life and death. He was found dressed like someone who belonged somewhere, someone who had a destination, someone who mattered to someone else. Yet, when he died, no one came forward. At the end of this story, we are not left with answers. We are left with a feeling. A quiet, heavy feeling that stays even after the screen goes dark. The Somerton Man does not end like other mysteries. There is no clear truth, no final confession, no moment of relief. There is only a man who once breathed, who once walked, who once thought about his life just like we do. He sat on the beach alone. No one beside him. No voice calling his name. No hand reaching out. And when the world found him, it was already too late. That is what makes this story hurt. Not the code, not the theories, not the secrets. It is the loneliness. Someone somewhere knew him. Someone once spoke to him. Someone once mattered to him. But when his life ended, no one came forward. Imagine that silence. Imagine leaving this world without being called by your name. Taman Shud means it is finished. But a life is never just finished. It leaves behind questions. It leaves behind emotions. It leaves behind people who wonder. Maybe he was running. Maybe he was hiding. Maybe he was tired. Maybe his heart was broken in a way we will never understand. And that is the truth of many mysteries. They are not about fear. They are about pain. They are about stories that were never fully told. When you watch a case like this, you are not just watching history. You are listening to a forgotten voice. By remembering him, by talking about him, by thinking about what really happened, you give that voice a place to exist again. That is why stories like this matter. Not because they are strange, but because they are human. If this story made you pause, if it made you feel something deep inside, then it has already done its job. And now I want to hear from you. What do you think really happened? Was it fate? Was it choice? Was it something darker? Share your thoughts in the comments. Every idea matters. Every perspective adds life to this mystery. If you enjoyed this journey, please like this video. It helps this story reach others who love mysteries like you. Share this with a friend who enjoys unsolved cases. Someone who stays up late thinking about stories like this. Someone who feels drawn to the unknown. And if you want more stories like this, stories that are not just facts, but emotions, stories that stay with you, subscribe to this channel. Here we do not rush mysteries. We sit with them. We feel them. We remember the people behind them. There are many forgotten stories in this world, and together, we will continue to tell them. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And thank you for remembering the Somerton Man, because as long as we remember him, his story is not finished.